It's been a minute since I've been on here, and that's really because I was trying to assess how I want to do these lives from now on. So I decided that I was going to break them up. So instead of me doing a regular just photo lighting practice session, what I would do is I would have photography being one session, videography being in the other section, and then doing the last one. Well, I would have four. So it's photography, videography, editing, and then marketing. And the reason why I set it up that way is so that way you guys can see my whole process, and it'll be per week. So in 1 month, you'll get a whole process of how I'm doing any type of content, right? So if you guys want to, of course, emulate it, get some tips, or just try some things on your own, you can do that based off of what I'm showing you in these videos. So today, because we are doing photography, and also because I do have an event that is coming up on Saturday, where I will be traveling to South Carolina in Columbia, and I'm going to Studio Hope. Okay, and that is a pole studio that is there. I was able to partner with that particular studio to be able to bring content and date to them. It's been pretty popular now since I've been enacting it down here in Atlanta. So I decided that I wanted to also bring it, or I was actually asked to bring it to South Carolina. So that's what we're doing. So right now, you guys can see I do not have my backdrop set up, and there's a reason for that. So right now, the only thing I do have set up is my softbox, and it's very minimal. So basically, all I have is this, just a shell for the most part, no modifier, except I do have my speed light inside. As you can see, it is currently on. So I have that off to the side right now because I will add the the modifying later on. Okay, and of course, as you guys know, the camera is always here, always on deck. So the camera currently, it has the kit lens on it. Of course, I got my speed light. I believe right now it's on like a, it says 1/4. I could have swore I saw this say something else. It is over. Where is 1/4? So that's flash power saying 1/4. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna bring it down. Okay, but I did go ahead and test out everything so far as getting the test shot. So I know what that's looking like. So now all I'm really going to do is actually going ahead and set up the backdrop that I have. And the reason why I'm doing that is so that way, for one, I'm testing out the backdrop I'm going to use at the studio shoot that I'm going to do on Saturday. So I want to make sure that it is going to look as good as I want it to look ultimately. And then I'm going to use this backdrop that I also just got from Amazon. So it's like 2 panels, 5 by 10 a piece. So it'll be pretty high. And because there's a middle part that's kind of be open, I can utilize that to where I can either bring a light in the middle of it or keep the pole right there in the middle. And when I drape it on the floor, when I have the pole right there, the 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 curtains, I guess, but the backdrop will be able to envelope the bottom of the pole. So that way, when I have my model on the pole and I'm taking pictures, it looks more uniform versus me just having cloth wrapped around it trying to hide or disguise or whatever it is. Ultimately, it saves you from doing more work in post. Right? So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. I'm gonna talk about this one particular setup that I have. If you guys are tuning in for the first time and you're watching me, I appreciate it so much. Definitely let me know if you have any questions in the midst of the live. Okay. So now I am gonna go ahead and set up this one particular backdrop. Okay. So this one, it is a traveling backdrop. As you can see, it looks like it's small, right? But it actually holds a whole setup. It's a whole backdrop stand in here. Okay. I feel like it's very, very compact. I personally love it just because of what I can do with it. Okay, so the only thing is, of course, there are so many slots. But I'm gonna try my best to go as quickly as I can, just so that way you guys can see how it is set up. So ultimately, they have numbers on them. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see that. Right. Okay. That's a number 5. Number 5 on there. Right. So then you just, of course, just match them up. But ultimately, you're supposed to create a full ass backdrop. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for all these numbers. I'm actually gonna go ahead and dump this. To be honest with you, I'm gonna go ahead and dump it. Bring this down so you guys can see how I have it set up. And then we'll start putting it together. Then once we do that, that's when we can actually go ahead and also set up the backdrop on it. Okay, so bring all these out. Of course, they got their sandbags, you know, for weight, right? Just in case you need it. I was wondering where my other one was at. All right, so I leave that right there. Then I also have, this is the stand that goes on the floor. Okay. So of course, bear with me. You probably like watching this before. I just wanted you guys to see how it's set up. So I'm setting up here. So I definitely have this already there. Of course, I build on from that. And then we'll have another one here. And I'll just go ahead and start setting them up as I normally would. So they'll be on opposite ends. Then this one, of course, I got one that says 2, one that says 5. Here's another 2. And I'm assuming it's another 5, but the number's not on it. Okay, but here are some more 5s. Okay, so some of these do not have numbers on them. I think they did at one point, and I just, I don't use this very often. So, there's some 10s. Alright, and then if all else fails, I can always switch back to my regular tried and true. Because at this point, I was like, where did I put the directions on here? Because I didn't have them on here. I think I moved them. Okay. And of course, this is to lock it in. So that's 2, 2. So this one will go in here. See, it's locking in. Okay. Then I got another 2. I'm going to do the same thing with this side. So luckily it's a twist situation, so you can just basically go in and just twist it on. Okay. Now we can add on to it. So that's 2. If I remember correctly, I think it goes up in numbers. So what we got here? Because the 7s, they all get, because like you see, as far if you can see this, right? So you'll have other numbers that'll pop up. So you can see right here, this hole right here. That's where the end will be locked in on the top bar, right? And then you can lock it up with this right here. Let me put this in the middle so you guys can see. Well, lock it up with these. Lock it up with these. That's at the end, right? So, from what I remember how these work, because of how the numbers are, the higher the number, the more further up it's going to go. So right now, this was 7 and 8, and it's locked into each other. Okay? Then, let's see here. I think with 10s, I'll go across, and I feel like these 5s are extras. So they'll go on top of those 2. Okay, so, let's say it was 2. We'll go 3. So we'll put 3 here. We'll loosen this up. But instead what I'll do is instead of putting the turning part in there, I'll put it at the opposite end. Then I'll lock that up. So that's 3. This one goes here as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead so I can knock this out right quick. That's 3. There's 4. Okay. Got that in. Oh yeah, the reason I'm doing this is just to ensure that I have everything that I need to really set these up. Plus 5. This is also 5. So that makes me wonder, should this go here? I feel like it should. Okay, that's here. Now keep in mind, I do want this to have some height just because of the fact. So now, because I'm already up here, and then I want to obviously make sure that this can reach. Now keep in mind, I can obviously put this connecting here and just slot that in, but then now of course it'll be this size. Like it won't be very long, alright? So I definitely want it longer just because of the fact I got it's about 10 feet wide, it's also 10 feet long. So and then it doesn't have to be as wide, but I definitely do want it to be to have some width to it. So that's 7. I was at 8, so then I'll put 8. And then we'll meet up in the middle. These are all 10s. Okay. So in that case, let's see. I'll just put the 10s on. So I'm going to use the 10s as extenders. If it's going to be wide enough, we're going to see. Because otherwise, ultimately it'll be like this. And I feel like I want one more. So I'm going to put one more 10 in it. The beauty of this setup is that it is very, not only compact, but it has a lot of room to use. Alright? So I'll put that there. Now, when it comes to the top part, you want to make sure that you're using this right here. As you can see, that right there, same thing here. Okay, use that because that's where you're gonna screw those in while attaching it to this top. So I'm going to stretch this all the way out. Same thing here, stretch it all the way out. But I'm gonna go ahead and take down this part right here for now until I can get the backdrop on this. So I do want this to connect as a whole situation, right? And of course I could use a chair, I could use a step stool, so I could do that. But I'm gonna show you what this will look like if I would lock this in. So ultimately this is where it will be locked in there. Alright, so this is where right here. That's where it'll be locked in there. So then what I would do is grab one of these and a washer. Okay, so right here. Then what I do is I put it right here, one of these, right? Then I put the washer on top. And then I'll just screw that in to tighten it up. That way it's one end completed. Make sure that washer is just set on there. But you don't want it to just fall in. And then go as tight as you can. Not to the point where you gotta strip it, but as tight as you can. So keep in mind, this is gonna go into, for example, this side right here. So that's why I said I'm gonna take down this section first, and I'm gonna tighten it here. That's progress on that side, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other end, because ultimately, I can actually switch these out if I really wanted to. Switch these out. Put this here, it's like, it won't be the same. Okay, I see what's going on. Okay, so it's fine. I'll leave this here. It ain't gotta be perfect. Alright, so put that there. Okay, then I'll grab this one to do the same thing with. And this is gonna be pretty long, though. So same thing. washer screw. Alright. Now based on how this is set up, I want you to do the same thing. So put it right here. And now, of course, I'm also timing myself to see how long it's going to take me. But regardless, I'm going to be at the studio early anyway. So that way I will have time to set these up. So I got to set these up as well as the lighting. And just to be prepared in case I need to change the lighting while I'm there. Okay, so that's that. And then I'll put a second one in it, which I feel like it's actually going to be this one. Now here's what I probably will do. I probably will go ahead and connect these because I can actually separate the middle just so that I need to check. Separate the middle just so that way I can put this backdrop in. So this part has always been a little tricky for me. You see how high it goes. So I think I'll leave it like right here. Alright. So I got that on. That part is good. Okay, so as you can see how tall this thing is. I'm going to bring it all the way back here. Bring it all the way back. Just like a lady's on it. Scissors somewhere. Let's see what kind of mess we're going to get into. So keep in mind, the stand for the backdrop is up. All right, so now, shoot back here. The stand for the backdrop is up. Now I got to put the backdrop on it. Move this out of the way a little bit so you guys can see more. Okay, so you guys see how tall that is. So now I'm just going to connect this on it while also attaching these to it. Now, if I really want to, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do all that, putting it through the hole. I can just connect this and put that. I can do that. Actually, we'll probably do that right now just because it will be a lot for me to go ahead and try to squeeze it in. I can try it, but I'm pretty sure I ain't going to like it. I ain't like the process. Yep, nope, I ain't gonna care for it. Alright, cool. So we're gonna get right into it. this even more. Put that there. Now this one, I can stretch out. Let's see. All right. That's just one side. But it's giving what I need it to give. Because it is going to be wrong. And then I can do the same thing with the other side. I do have 3 more here. Where did I put it? I don't know who's that for. So I can cut this light off too, by the way. Okay, now open this up. And then you're right into it. Now, this material is kind of thin. It's not bad, but it definitely is kind of thin. And I gotta make sure that when I use it, that I remember that it's thin. So that I don't have anything behind it unless it's like different sets of, different type of light. Okay, there is that. Now I'm gonna close this middle space because I don't need it to be extra exposed. Here we go. But boom, that is literally what the setup is gonna be like on Saturday. So it's giving like a what do you call like those broadcasting things? Hold on, this is showing as if my thing froze up. And it did. Alright, so let me see what's going on my webcam right quick. Like, do I really have that right now? That's fine. But for those of you that's still here on Facebook, this is what this will look like. Okay? Now, keep in mind, this still gives me an idea of, I can still have this to go, like if I had wanted to buy a bigger one, I could still make it like 20 feet long. Just because it would go this far out. Right? Give me a little more room to work with. But the way that it is perfectly fine. So it's cool. I'm not tripping about it. All right. So in the meantime, while I get my webcam back working again, I am going to do some test shots to see what this looks like. Have me obviously right in front of it. Turn on this light for effect. I'll probably do a different color than blue. So okay. I should think about maybe purple. Alright, so it's back on. Webcam is back working again. So we'll do purple. Like a dark purple. I think it would be pretty cool. Okay. So just to try to see what that looks like. I don't really need this right here, so I'll move that right quick. So that's that. That. Okay, boom. We're back on. We're back on and popping. Alright, so now this is where we do the fun stuff. We get to test things out. Do I need to record it? I don't know. It's recording anyway. Okay, I'll leave it as is. I'm not gonna complicate my computer anymore. Alright, so now I'm gonna move this into the shot. Okay, so keep in mind, I don't have any modifier in it. So it might be best for me to go ahead and add one and also turn this down, but I'm gonna do a test shot without the modifier to see what it looks like, and then a test shot with the modifier just to show the difference. Okay? Oh, make sure that my timer is on. So timer. Oh, and I do need my dummy. Now, keep in mind, again, I'm thinking about when you're on a pole, for the most part, it's like you are really, you're high. Some people can be really high. So this could be great for like they're doing stuff that's like mid-range. Right? If the pole, obviously the pole is right here, having them to avoid really hitting that. But if anything, I might just have this pushed back so that way they don't hit it, especially if they're doing like mid-range types of poses. But if they're right here, I might move the backdrop closer to them just so that way they can get the background to match, right? But if anything, I might actually bring my other, I might actually bring this backdrop and just put it on the floor so it can match up. I think I got my tape somewhere too, which is my blue tape. So that's here somewhere. If I can find it, I will bring that too. That way I can take this down the floor. But ultimately, that's what I'm going to kind of go for. So this is me. And luckily it is about my height. So we'll put it right here. Okay, and then we'll test it out, see what the lighting and shit looks like, and then go from there. Alright. Come down, put it in the middle, move this out the way. I know it's gonna be bright, but it's fine. So I wanna see what it looks like even still. Yep. So now we're gonna show you what the picture looks like. See, that is bright. So obviously that's not what we want. This is where the modifier come in, but I can also drop this down to right now it's still at 1/4. So what I'll do is I will bring this up to 1/64 and then test that out. It should be right here. And then we'll see how much is actually taken in the shot. No lights went off that time, but that's okay because sometimes that happens. This is still working, boom. This is also still on. And now we're going to go ahead and try it again. Let's see if that makes a difference. And it did. So I am actually going to bring this up. Good. Made a big difference, actually. Yeah, because I'm like, why did it give it to me that way? There we go. That's because I had to adjust this itself. Alright, so then I'll bring this down so you guys can see that better. I like it. I actually do like it. This is still without the modifier, by the way. Now I will say this because I don't see the light as much on me right here, which is fine because it doesn't necessarily have to be. But I am also looking at what my settings could be. So my settings currently are shutter speed is at 80. Shutter speed is at 80, aperture at 3.5, and my ISO is at 400. Okay, so some of the light should have actually came in, but it's cool. I'm not gonna trick too much about it, but I probably will try to bring it closer. Probably as a hair light, so I'll be right there. Then I'll do another shot. Let's just see what that looks like. But ultimately, this is the setup. Okay. And then of course you can paint, as you notice, the shadow behind me. I can eliminate that if I just move forward. So let me go ahead and get rid of that right quick. And then what I'll do is I will change this lighting here. That way, so that way it kind of can separate me from the background. And hope that it does do that. So I'll move it right here. An option. Okay. Then we'll try this one more time. So move away from the. Okay. All right. So that does make a difference. It's because of the fact that I just step away from the matte drop, so that way I'm not blended all the way in. All right. But ideally, again, this is the setup that I'm going to have. Keep in mind, if I have somebody who's on the pole, they will be here, and the pole will be, for the most part, in the middle. And again, depending on how I want to capture the person, I could either bring them closer up, or actually, they can't move the pole, but I can move the backdrop back. That way, they're not touching the backdrop itself. They're not hitting it. They have some height. And then from there, of course, in post, I can do some extra editing if I need to, get rid of the background itself, and ultimately have this extra backdrop here to be able to extend it. But now what I'm going to do is, since we are here, I'm going to go ahead and play around with the lights. So I'm going to bring one of these lights out, just so that way I can see what that will look like. And that will be up against, let's see, where's the stands at? Let me bring them here. So that will be up against, like the corner or behind the model. So I'm grabbing a stand, just one stand, I don't need a whole lot. Just one stand. Alright, and do this like so. Put this here. Go ahead and bring this up some. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I using floodlights? Because they work for me. Alright, so floodlights actually work for me. I personally love using floodlights just because I do have a lot of flexibility when it comes to where I can position. Granted, yes, there are other advanced photography lights that you can use, the ones that have the doors, or they call them barn doors, so they can close over, can manipulate the light even more. But I'm okay with these right now because I can still rotate it. And if when I am ready to decide to upgrade in a sense, then I will do so. But I'm cool with these floodlights. They are very bright, very powerful, but I personally love them just because of the price point for one, and the fact that it gives me the brightness that I need ultimately, and I can manipulate it. So now I'm going to make sure I have. Okay, I got a remote that works. Now, another thing that I definitely have to do when I use these is I have these particular screws, right? And these are the ones that I use to ensure that my, hold on, where is it? I want you to make sure y'all can see this. When I want to make sure that my floodlight is being connected correctly. So I'm actually going to put this over my light stand. And I know people might be like, that's more work. That makes no sense. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not bitching about it. You guys can buy me a new one if you want to. Till then, I'm going to do what I know to do. Okay? So, put that here. That's locked in. Alright? Then, I'm going to go ahead and use my extension cord. Now, again, I am utilizing this so I can see what the extra lighting could look like if I wanted to give them color. So, that would be that. And I'll cut this other one off just because it's not as bright as it is giving. Put this here. And I do still want to go back to my purple. So I will bring this up some. Okay. Where's my remote? Boom. Okay. So that's the purple. Now we're going to try it. Okay. We're going to see what happens. Without really having to adjust too much. Granted, I can bring my shutter speed up, but we're going to try it just as is to see what it gives in the picture. Light. Let's see. You're on, so we know it ain't that. So we're going to try it one more time. I'm pretty sure you're fine. All right, so it's giving a little bit. Okay, so now this is what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna go ahead and increase my shutter speed. I know it's gonna make me work a little harder. The aperture I'm gonna bring up as well. I'm gonna put that up at 5.6, and it's gonna make it a little darker, right? Which is fine. So I may have to drop this down, as far as. So I'll also drop down the flash power. Yeah, round it up actually a little bit. Let's see if that makes a difference. So now, basically, what I'm looking for is it's gonna be sharper because the aperture is up. Okay. It's gonna catch me a lot clearer just because of the fact. All right. Now, what I am noticing is that the colored light isn't coming in as much, so that it could be a situation where I may need to obviously adjust it even more. So that could be like right here. I could put it like right in front of my face or in the corner, for example, just for the test. And then I'll try it one more time. Let me get sure I get my prop. So this is me, just to ensure that I am going to come in sharp. I do want to try something else. I'm gonna wait after I do this. Okay, so now we get a little bit of color. Now, this is where, let's take us some time. This is where I'm going to decide on what I should do. Because obviously I can lower my try to speed even more to be able to get more color to the lighting, so I can test that out right quick, right? Or there's another option I know that I can do, which I'm actually going to do right quick so you guys can see what that looks like, is I can put this behind me. That'll be more direct. I had tried this my last session on my own. Alright, so we're going to put it right here. We're going to drop this down a little bit. Move this over. Just like that. Then I'm going to stand in front of it. We'll see if that does what I think it's going to do. Barely. Barely. Okay? So now, reason of course I'm here, you guys already know, I'm going to go ahead and test out the shutter speed. I'm going to bring that down, see if that makes a difference. It's going to make it brighter, but it's also going to bring more ambient. So I'm going to put it at 1/60. Alright, and I'm going to move this lighting to go back to the side. Does that make any difference? Alright, went off before I even got there, it's fine. Now let's see. It gave some lighting, not a whole lot. Just for the heck of it, let's try it. Let's see if it gives me the red. It's showing a red here. Now, what I can do, okay, what I can do, if I really, really wanted to mess with it, I can actually switch the lens, right? So again, this is part of where we test out different things, see what works. So I have my 32 or 35 right here. So you see it brought a little bit of light behind me, but I need more, right? So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And of course, we're going to turn my connection off on the computer, which is fine. Bring this here. And put this on. Now, of course, if this was like a continuous light situation, this actually would look pretty cool. If I really wanted to just do it that way, but this would also be trying that out. So I'm gonna probably do it in this setting to see if that makes a difference. So first I'm gonna try it with the flash, and then I'm gonna try it without the flash, just to see. Okay. So now we're on. I'm gonna go ahead and test out my dummy. The cord hurts when you stand on it. Alright, wait for that to come up. See what it do. Okay. I actually do like this setup, by the way. So I'll bring this down, bring this back. I brought my camera back. Then we're gonna press that timer. We'll be here. I bet it's gonna make a difference. It's gonna make a difference because it's this anyway. But it's definitely gonna make a difference. Alright, so this is what we're gonna do. So I want you guys to see that right quick. Alright. So it got some more lighting in here. Okay? Something is still relatively off. But I'm gonna find out what it is in a second. But what I'm gonna do is, being that I do have this light out here the way that it is, I'm gonna try it more directly on me. And then I'm going to try it without the flash. I'm going to turn the flash off. I'm going to put this over here. Okay, so now I'm actually going to bring my aperture down so I can bring the light up, bring the light in. Okay, so then what I'll do, because now what is happening is, because I basically turn off the flash, it won't be able to recognize it without it. So I have to bring extra lighting to match. Alright, so now we'll try it like this. Now that is pretty cool, okay? That's because of the fact. So what I'll do now is I will bring this back here. Still continuous. Do another shot. I'll stand in front of it. So you see, it's giving a certain type of effect that I like, ultimately. Now, I can also tilt this back if I want to. I can tilt that back. Try that too. Alright, so you get the idea for the most part. But for me, it definitely is giving. Because I still, still make sure that I can get the effect that I ultimately want. Alright, so now what I have to decide is, if I bring my strobe lights back in, because I'm probably going to use a strobe, I can switch it out if I wanted to, but I'm probably going to use the strobe, right? So if I bring this back in, what is going to happen, right? Like, how am I going to adjust this to make sure that it gets the effect that I ultimately want? Because I was able to achieve it in a previous video that I did. And I may have to go back and look at that video again. There we go, just like that. Turn the strobe back on. Boom. Okay, now I haven't even checked the YouTube to see if anything even up there. No. Okay, cool. Alright. So now we're going to try this part again. So now what we're gonna do is, let's see, because I think I'm gonna try like this and I'm gonna lower it. I think I'm gonna switch up the flash power. But I do need to bring this a little closer, so let's do that. Bring this a little closer. Do I need to put my modifier on it? I'll put the modifier on it right quick. Okay. We'll do that. test something out. I'm not sure why I'm doing this whole singing acting thing while doing this. Now it did bring me more light, almost because I brought it closer, and I can test that theory out. Or I can go ahead and put the grid on it because it did make it brighter, and it did bring me the red light behind me. So I'm doing this. I want to make sure that whatever idea I decide to go with, that it does come out looking nice. So I'll turn this back on, switch this over, just in case I decide to put two colors on the mouth. Let's see what that do. Alright, so now it's giving more of the ambiance that I'm looking for. I think it looks good, honestly. I think it looks good. So now, having to understand what I had to do to get to it. So ultimately, I did put my grid on, I did put my modifier on, but all that did was make me not as bright. But I will say this, because I brought it closer, it looks like it made an effect. So I'm going to bring it back far again, where it was, and see if that changes anything. And if it does, then I know for a fact it's the distance of the lighting. Because I haven't changed any of this. This is all the same. Even though that also, so even that came in more. So now it begs to wonder if it was the settings on the camera, which I didn't change a whole lot. All I did was I brought, of course, my aperture down to 2.0 to bring more light in, ultimately. And then my shutter speed is actually at 1/80. Like, it's not even very low. It's at 1/80. And then I have my ISO is still at 400. So whether this was close to me or not, it didn't make that much of a difference, except for the brightness on my face, ultimately. So I can move this like an inch closer. That would pretty much be about it. And even if I turn this off, just for the sake of trying it off, see what that looks like. So maybe it's the distance of the lighting as well, facing me. Yeah, because now every shot is coming in looking really, really nice. So I'm actually very happy with that. And it did it right on time. Like right here at the end, nearing the end. So it looks really good. Of course, I can make sure I can have multiple lights on here, just to ensure that it is giving a more filled out look. I will move it around one more time just for devil's advocate. So I'll move it around this way to see if that makes a difference. And then I'm going to try it one more time to see if that changes anything. But nonetheless, this is why it's great to do your test shots beforehand, just so that way you can make sure that you get the right settings that you want for your models. Okay, so yeah, that one's still coming on. It's not making a difference. Something switched, something flipped, but nonetheless, it's doing what it needs to do. But if I change the color, I will do that. I will see if that makes a difference. So if I change it back to purple, I think it's purple that I had it on. If I do that, will that make an impact? I think when I change it to red, it did what it needed to do, but I could be wrong. Because I feel like it was doing it with the red as well. So we'll try this. Yeah, look at it now. It's definitely everything is coming in. Everything is coming in. All right, so you guys get it. You guys get the idea. This is how everything is going to go for the most part. I'm following. This is how everything's going to go for the most part on Saturday. I'm looking forward to how the shoot goes, and I will ensure that I do my test shots way beforehand. So I'll have, of course, I'll probably practice myself, or have somebody, a studio owner who will be in the building. Probably have her run it with me just to make sure that it's getting the effects that I want. But ideally, I will be using this black backdrop. As you can see, it catches a lot. So I'm happy about that. If I want to extend this even more, I really could. So I could really add another, because there's like 2 more that's left. I got 2 more of these that are left. So if I really wanted to, I could actually add 2 more and stretch this out even more. Like, yeah. So right now, if I want like a burlesque look, this will be that. And luckily, it doesn't get a lot really wrinkled, a lot. As you can see, like because that's how, because of the material too. But if I really wanted a more stretched out look, I could do that. Of course, I can make it longer. I can make it shorter. This backdrop stand is pretty handy. As you can see, of course, when it comes to the lighting, I was able to make that work as well. So I'm happy with that. Of course, as always, test out your lighting. Test out your lighting. It's very, very important. As you can see with tonight, me having to test it out. That shouldn't take me this long, obviously, because by that time, luckily, when it comes to the testing part, I already have my setup done. So the testing part probably took like maybe 20 minutes. But this is why it's best for you to come in early. Right? You come in early, you already have an idea of what you want to do. Go ahead and set up your lighting. Make sure you set up your distance of your camera, whatever. If you have a laptop, so you can show those pictures afterwards. Make sure that that is also prepared. But ultimately, this is the idea I want to go with. I don't think I'm going to change up any more than that. I'm going to have them do different shots. And then I'm going to combine that with some videos. So then we can either do it here of this backdrop, which I feel like I can, or I can of course use their area, but I will bring my own lighting just to make sure that everything is going to look cohesive. Everything is looking good. So that's the idea. And of course I'll have my 35 millimeter when it comes to that, for that blurred out effect ultimately, and then we will go from there. Alright, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to pack everything up because I'm getting sure I have to make sure I leave out of here on time on Saturday morning. I can get to South Carolina and then make this thing do what it do. So thank you guys for touching base with me, and I will see you guys next Thursday where we'll go over videography. And I'll go over, of course, just the basics of what I normally do for videos. And if you have any questions, just let me know from there. And please make sure that you sign up for my Patreon. I am going to start putting my full lives on my Patreon. So anytime, if you see that I'm live somewhere, if you can try to get on there, go ahead and get on there. But if you aren't able to make it, you will get the recap. So that's going to be on my YouTube. Then you have to go to Patreon to get the full, right? So I think right now for that, because it's I have a free marketing side as well. So anything like my lives, I think I will just include them on the marketing side. But I do need you guys to get on there, right? So anything else, I will have like a premium side. That will be more in-depth stuff that I'll be probably going over, probably showing how to do certain things. More than likely, it'll be how you can make money. So how I am making money, I will show you guys how to do that through there as well. But that'll be on the premium Patreon side. But for right now, sign up for the free, because anything that I do that is live like this will be on there. But you gotta sign up for Patreon. You have to sign up, all right? Thank you guys. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.